Alrighty guys, so we're going to do a quick rebuild video on the stock Hitachi from the Brat. Keep in mind, I've never torn down a carburetor before, so if I make mistakes, don't be too mean in the comments. This is more for exploration because I'm pretty sure this carburetor's shot, but we'll see what we can find. So I'm going to grab my flathead screwdriver. We're going to start by taking, I guess, where do I start? Good question. I guess we'll start by taking this part of the choke mechanism off. Come on. It's a long bolt. A long screw, rather. One and two. This is held in by the vacuum choke. This is held in by a little cotter pin here. Is there an easy way to take this whole thing off? That's the question. Looks like it's riveted in there pretty solid, so let's pop this rubber cover off here. And that looks like a 8mm bolt. It's a 10, 12. I've got one in here somewhere. Close. Well, it's a 7. Alright, this looks like a job for the small vice grips. I don't know if you can see what I'm doing. Basically, there's a wire here that I'm taking off. This video is probably going to be pretty long. I'm not planning on editing it very much, but I'll cut out any really boring parts. There. Long vice grips to the rescue. Choke mechanism bolts. There we go. Put this back on here so I don't lose it. It's a very small nut. Alrighty. So this is our throttle and the spring perch for the throttle and the idle adjuster screw. So let's just switch sides here. Let's take this off. Not sure what that is. It might be some sort of electronic idle controller, but I do know it's in my way and I want it off. There's the sight glass for the choke. I didn't even know that was here. I didn't even know there was a sight glass on these stock Hitachis. I want to do dual Weber conversions, a dual carburetor Weber conversion. I'll have to build a custom intake, but if I can rebuild this, it'll work for the time being so I can keep driving the Brat. And I will hopefully be getting a welder soon to start rust repair. Be doing that in the nice shop, not in the new shop. I'm still converting the new shop, so right now it's just storage. Feels like there's a spring behind here. Be very careful taking this off. Like I said, don't flame me too much. I've never rebuilt a carburetor before, so I don't entirely know what I'm doing. But we're going to learn as we go, because that's how I learn best, is by doing. I lost the needle for the carburetor too, so I'd have to get a needle. Might have one on one of my parts carbs. Looks like this is a fuel pressure sensor. I'm not entirely sure what this is. Maybe it's some sort of fuel filter. I don't want to strip that out. Let's grab a flathead. I'll have to grab a flathead from the screwdriver stash. I'll be back in a second. Here we go. This is the shop my grandfather built before he passed. He wired the whole thing himself. Flathead. Oh, well, that just kind of fell out. I know that thing's been giving me grief before, but I didn't think it would just yeet itself. Oh, that's pretty happy where it is, isn't it? Yeah, so when I took this off, I had a lot of carb spacer. I had a lot of coolant fall out. Not sure why. So why does that secondary not open at all, even at full throttle? It opens a little bit, but not hardly. Is it a vacuum controlled? I bet it's a vacuum controlled secondary. Huh. The plot thickens. Because I had a lot of problems with this thing not wanting to rev out. Get a smaller flathead from somewhere. Bet this will work. That's pretty happy where it is, isn't it? We'll come back to that. Don't want to come apart. Yeah, those bolts, those screws are happy where they are, aren't they? I always wanted to see how one of these things worked by taking it apart for myself instead of just watching YouTube videos from great YouTubers like Thunderhead289, Junkyard Diggs, all those people who know way more about what they're doing than I do. I always wanted to do that, but I was always afraid I'd break something, and I just took with this carburetor, I took the mindset of it's already pretty broken, so I can't really break it more. It's working so far. I don't feel very much guilt taking it apart. For the love of... They really put that thing in there solid. The amount of gunk on this thing probably don't help. Yeah, I took the this out, and I'm pretty sure the needle came out with it, even though I didn't want it to. Can't find the needle anywhere. The needle and screw, because I was gonna put a couple washers behind the needle and see if that helped my low-end bog. I've been told that might have helped. Oh, it wants to come out. There. So those two go to the choke mechanism, and hold the top of the carburetor on. And those two aren't quite on frame, they go here. Gotta remember that. This video is partially so I remember how to put the thing back together. If I end up putting it back together, well, that accelerator pump is seized. That's probably part of my problem too. This screw came from here. Oh. What's holding you together still? Linkages on this side. Okay. Don't want to bend any cotter pins if I can get away with it. Looks like I'm not going to, though. Unless I took the entire throttle mechanism apart. I don't want to do that. So, cotter pins it is. If and when I order a rebuild kit, I'm sure it'll come with new cotter pins. So I'm not too worried about it, but had this pair of vice grips since I was 7 years old. Still going strong. They don't quite fit though, so we'll use these. There. Unhook that, and a couple of springs, mainly this one, and this one. Oh, there's another. There. So here's the float mechanism. It's not seized, so that's good. There's a lot of crap in here, a lot of old gaskets. I'm at least gonna have to order a gasket kit. Like, this is kind of ridiculous how bad these gaskets were, and probably why I was leaking so much fuel. That's just sitting in there. Does this guy go here? Like that? Maybe, don't know. A lot of junk in the float bowl. Wish I had a razor blade on me, but I don't. I'll just get as much of this gasket material off as I can. I know I'm going to have to get new gaskets at least. I think a rebuild kit for this thing's only like 17 bucks, so. So this guy goes here, I'm assuming. Probably just like that, and that would explain my bog, because this was just not installed at all. So that'll need tightened. Whole thing's probably going to be put in some carb cleaner, at least. Get myself a rebuild kit if I feel like rebuilding this thing. That's the entire carb wiring harness taken off. These screws are going to go over here. These 3 screws sitting to the right of the carburetor, my right, not your right, came from this, whatever this is. This is something to do with the electric choke, the electric choke, I'm pretty sure. I don't know how well you can see, so I apologize. I did the best I could. It's a little hard. I don't have a tripod, so my phone is in selfie mode, so that's why the video quality is lower. And it's on a car phone holder, and that car phone holder is wired to the wall of my shop, of the nice shop right above the workbench. It's not free, apparently. Ah, I see. There's another screw down here. So these 3 little screws came out of this same mechanism that I took out. Those 3 big screws that are on my right of the carburetor. Come on. Got it. It's still in there solidly. A lot of crap. It's gonna at least need cleaned, I'll tell you that. This is pretty loose. This one came from here. This little one came from this part of the bowl. This big one came from here. This spring came from this hole. I think this carb has been apart before. It looks like someone's been in here. Just a guess, but... These studs hide jets, apparently. I'm just going to put those back for now. I don't have a rejet kit for it, otherwise I'd probably rejet it while I had it apart, but... A little flathead screw here, buried under all the gunk. And it's not coming out. Perfect. Not. There. Just had to give it a little firm pull. This is the adjuster screw for this one that keeps falling out. I don't want to strip it out, but I think I need to get it off. So that's not going to be fun. Need myself a bigger Phillips. That screw really didn't want to come off. We'll place it over here. I don't want to strip that out, so we're going to go with a flat head. I've been told that if you ever strip out a Phillips head screw, you can get mad at Henry Ford, because either he invented it or someone who worked for him invented it, or he had it invented. I don't know, but that's what I was told. I don't remember for sure. That thing is really happy where it is, isn't it? Oh, sorry, bud, you gotta come out. Little quick drink break. That screw's gonna strip itself out, isn't it? Dang it. Well, stripped anyway. Man, this screw's happy where it is, isn't it? Almost there. I forgot about these random vacuum lines. Oh, that's interesting. So this one kind of just pulled the entire vacuum line piece out. Never seen that before. I don't know if that's good or bad. I'm assuming the latter. Stock on the carburetor felt a little underpowered anyway, but as messed up as this has been so far, I'm not surprised why. The main throttle body is there. I need to remove the top of the carb from the throttle body, or the middle of the carb. See if I can get this to pop off here. Random question for anyone who's still watching 25 minutes into this video. I'm thinking about getting a dirt bike. I've heard of this street legal dirt bike called the Hawk 250 on Amazon. It's only $1,500. They're supposed to be really well made. Would y'all be interested in a video on the Hawk 250 if I get it? Let me know if anyone's still watching at this point. That screw seems to have controlled nothing, which is weird. I wonder if these bolts are holding anything important. One way to find out is to take them off, and they're 12 mils. I'm getting real good at guessing bolt sizes. I've worked on pieces of crap too much. Now I can guess bolt sizes real easy. Y'all can still see? Yeah, you can. Can now that I moved. I love these ratcheting wrenches. They were a bit of an investment, but they were well worth it. They make my life so much easier when working on stuff. Sometimes you just don't quite have room. Well, those jets are clogged. Jeez Louise. That's part of my problem. See if I can pop this carb gasket off. Carb spacer, whatever it is. There. Pop the spacer off, ripped the gasket underneath. Don't really care. If I get a rebuild kit, it'll come with all of this. That screw was real easy to take out. This screw that I'm going to set next to this spring came from here. Just a little reminder for future me. It's very long. There we go. Hey, that gasket's not too bad. Oh, the other ones are awful, but that one's not too bad. Actually, that's a spacer. There's another gasket here, and it came off in one piece. Wow. Alrighty. That's a vacuum port. Looks like this comes apart farther. A lot of these jets are not in good shape, I'm sad to say. Like, they're pitiful. But this looks like it's two-piece, but it's one piece on the outside. So that might be as far as that breaks down. It's a sediment bowl assembly. It's the top hat of the carb. And here's the throttle body on the bottom. And the vacuum, I'm going to say it's a vacuum secondary. Which feels like it might need fixed. It feels like it's not quite working right. But carb's torn apart. I think it's as far as I can get it to tear apart anyway. I want to try and get this choke off. Feels like the choke actually works pretty okay. But I want to try and get it off so I can soak the parts of the carb in carb cleaner overnight. But I'm not seeing an easy way to... Oh, wait. That might be my easy way to remove it right there. Well, it's got a screw down here, so we'll take it off. So there's a big long screw sitting right over here that goes on this. Screw there. The rest of these look like pop rivets though that hold this choke on. I don't have a drill with me to drill them out. Because I could drill them out and replace them with screws, but I don't have a drill with me. I think I can get this screw out, which I can't. Because of the angle it's stuck in there, I don't think I can get these screws out, but I'm pretty sure these screws hold the whole thing, the whole choke assembly on here. It's like, this one over here is completely under the choke. I don't know how you're supposed to take them off. That's happy where it is. I'm not going to mess with it. Yeah, overall, it's not as bad as I thought it'd be. Still pretty bad, but like I said, I expected worse. I think the float's working fine, which is good. I want to figure out a way to take this choke off, though. Let's see if I can find a drill. Well, it's a drill. Kind of cordless drill my grandfather used to use, but we might be able to make this work. I'm gonna have to move over to the vise. I'll be back if this works. You guys aren't gonna believe this, but it worked. I put the screws for that right next to the spring and the other tall screws. Let's see. And I just gotta get this off of this. And it's held in by the throttle, looks like. Be easier to take it off from this side if I can figure out how it comes off. Hey, there we go. Trying to get those screws off since I started this. up for this. I think it's a vacuum controlled throttle because there's a needle. There's a, I think it's for the secondaries. It's like the main needle for the secondary, main jet and needle for the secondaries. It's vacuum controlled. These screws are going to go right there. There we go. Like I said, I'm not too worried about losing screws and stuff off of this. Not screws, gaskets and such, having them break. Because one, might not even keep using this carburetor, haven't decided it. And two, the rebuild kit should come with them if I rebuild them. Sorry that took me so long to say. I was concentrating. Alright, come on. There we go. That screw's been fighting me all day. There we go. So now this should pop right off, but it's not. Because of course it's not. There. So yeah, that's like a vacuum controlled jet, looks like. I was hoping there'd be a screw in here that connected to the main throttle plate, but I don't see one. Ah, I'm stupid. There's a screw right here. That screw holds on something to do with the choke. I'm not entirely sure what, but we'll figure out. There. Let's see. Well, I guess that's as far as it's getting torn down before I put it in the carb cleaner, except I'm going to take this vacuum line off. Or I could just take this mechanism. Oh, there we go. That mechanism's removed by pushing down these two things on the vacuum control. Now that this part of the choke mechanism is still not coming off, I'm not too worried about that. It should be fine. If I can get a screwdriver in there. Which I can. then I'd be able to remove the whole choke mechanism, but should be fine. So this is the state. Actually, I better take the float off so I don't dissolve the float in carb cleaner. Float is removed. All the pieces for the float are sitting over here by the fencing wire. And all of those are going to get a good clean too. I'm just not going to soak those overnight. Now, I'm going to leave the jets in and see if the carb cleaner will clean the jets out a little bit. But so that's going in a carb cleaner. Let's see here. Now we need to deal with this. Anything that's vacuum controlled, I want to take off so it don't bust in the carb cleaner. Well, that's that. Take it apart, I guess. Put it here. I need this to come off somehow, like that. Vacuum control is removed. I'd like to remove the throttle, if I can. But I think it's going to end up staying on. I'll take the spring off. So that's ready to go in the carb cleaner. And this is ready to go into carb cleaner. So I'm going to deposit all of these into carb cleaner, and I will see you guys next time I make a video, whether I get a rebuild kit for this or decide to put a different carburetor on.